Aloha. Welcome to paradise. Aiea, Hawaii, just outside of Honolulu and home of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. A tremendous setting and a spectacular game that we have in store. We have a ranked versus unranked battle coming up here. You know how chaos can ensue if they start smelling an upset. As we'll see a squad from the Big 12, the Colorado State Rams, taking on the third-ranked team in the land, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Reese Davis, David Pollack, and Jesse Palmer with me. Guys, it's time to get it going. And the Rainbow Warriors will kick it away to start us off. He'll start the return inside his 5. Strikes the blow. Offense set on first down. Touch pass on the run. Nice move to keep running. They needed to find enough space and get it moving forward, and they're up to the 22s. These two conferences have been tied together for years through the Sugar Bowl, a little testiness with the whole Texas-Oklahoma thing, and now the rivalry on the field between the Big 12 and the SEC.
Yeah, and conference realignments played a big factor, too, between these two conferences. Think back to when Texas A&M and Missouri joined the SEC. So this is always a fun one to watch, David. Wide-open offense from the Big 12, and then you get the physicality and the speed from the SEC.
I think you nailed it right there. Two totally different worlds. They live in different worlds all the time. One is pitchy woo-woo, throw it around all over the yard. The other one, physicality. Which style can present itself today and win the ball game?
3rd and 6, and they'll need a big play here on this opening drive. Dropping back, it's Fowler Nicolosi. Finds his tight end. Good tackle there to stop him short of the first down, and now they have to make a call. The Rams line up to punt it away. He's going to try to flip the field with this one. And the punt team able to sling him to the ground. First down here for the offense. Quarterback will audible. He wants to throw. Getting some heat. Took a shot as he threw. Hit hard just as he released it on first down and just couldn't get it to the receiver.
Well, the offensive line has got to give him at least a little bit of time to survey the field. He had no chance that time, getting hit almost immediately after he got the ball.
And now on second down for this offense. After the incompletion, they go back up top. This one's complete. And the defense stops him just short of the first down. Maybe needed a few more chain links to move the sticks.
You know, this is simple pitch and catch. Quarterback and wide receiver have done this 4 million times in the offseason. He catches, waits for him to take a couple steps, boom, fires it right on his chest. They can complete this probably with their eyes closed. They've ran this route so many times together.
They get him on the ground, but not before he gets enough for the first down.
And that's so tough as a defense because they only got to get inches. But I got to find a way to somehow get a knockback, stop the running back's feet. Right there, I couldn't do it. He gets downhill just enough, and he gets the first down.
It's a good job, too, there on third down by the offense because a major statistic in football in terms of winning and losing is how good are you at staying on the field, keeping drives alive. Whether it's 3rd and long or 3rd and inches, you just have to go execute, and they do it there.
They'll run the option. He'll pitch it. Still running at the 40. And he caught that pitch in stride and was off to the races. A big gain and a first down for this offense.
Every time he touches the ball, you can feel the excitement from this home crowd because Palmer, he can go the distance with that game-breaking speed.
You're right, David. He's a special talent. I'll tell you, these fans, they come here to see this guy play because he has game-breaking speed. Stuff you can't coach. You saw it on that play.
Looking to the end zone. And it's caught! Touchdown, Warriors!
This quarterback really does a nice job seeing the field and reading coverage. And when you go empty and you spread the defense out, it's easier to see what the defense is doing.
And he's got the extra point, and it's 7-0 to start this one. Lining up to cover the kick after that touchdown drive. On the run from inside his own 5. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. Colorado State takes over the Ram offense, returns to the field. Boy, 3 and out last time, David. They'd like to be more productive this time around.
Yeah, in the last drive, nothing really clicked. No rhythm, got off the field really quickly. They need to put something together here.
Yeah, David, bad execution on that last drive, so they got to take a collective breath and start playing like a unit on this drive.
Kept it on the ground on first down. Let's see what they do on second. Looking downfield, it's Fowler Nicolosi. Makes a connection. And they'll spot it at the 45. That's good enough for a first down.
And this defense is going to have their hands full because they're going to need to be comfortable with guys one-on-one on islands in the perimeter of the field. And they're just going to have to make better plays than what we saw right there. They knew this offense was going to try to be aggressive. Got to need better effort in the back end for this defense moving forward.
Give to Brown. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one.
They're trying to run the ball on first down, guys, but just nothing doing up front. Their offensive line got blown up on that play. There was nowhere for that guy to go.
On second down, he'll fire. He's going to let one fly down the middle. And the incomplete pass taking a shot on second down, and they'll be left with a third down.
I know that shot down the field was incomplete, but you got to keep taking shots. Those receivers love to go deep. It gives them a breath of fresh air. They get more excitement. They're going to the quarterback with a little bit more juice because you know you're feeding them. So I would keep taking deep shots down the field.
A chance to sort of put the defense on its heels if you convert a 3rd and long. This one from the 44. From the gun, wants to pass. They're working that left side. Couldn't ask for much more there. A first down, and they're down to the 42.
And that's really got to make this offensive coordinator feel good. You get a completion on a big 3rd down early in the game, and that should give him a lot of confidence calling plays this game.
And the Rams have their offense in high gear. Dropping back, it's Fowler Nicolosi. Swings it out to the flat. They make the stop, but a good pickup there on first down.
Love the execution there on the screen. The running back shows pass protect. Last second turns around, so he's able to get the ball. The D linemen have already run past him. Now he can turn upfield for a big gainer.
Quarterback touch pass on the jet sweep. Oh, look, and it's a fumble after that huge gain. Oh, looks as if the defense got it.
You've got to have better ball security on offense. The football position. is priceless. Losing possession, turning the ball over, that kills you in games, that loses games, and that is a bad, bad play at a bad time.
Hawaii has it back as they send the offense onto the field. David, they'd love to do what they did last time and put this one in the end zone.
You ain't lying. They did a great job. The offense was clicking. Everything went well. Palmer, they executed and got the touchdown.
And they really were in a nice rhythm as well. I'd love to see that here on the next drive, too. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything seems to be working, and you seem to have this defense on their heels.
They're backed up just a little. 1st and 10 from their own 19. Use the play fake. Now to throw. Pulls it in. It's high. He's run out of bounds, but not before. Turning in a big pickup and moving the sticks for a first down.
I'll tell you what, that's great execution between the QB and receiver. They look like they could execute that throw in their sleep. Quarterback took his steps, threw it on time. Great route by the receiver. Nice job securing the catch.
Pressure coming. And the quarterback is snowed under.
And he gets home again, continuing his production. Last week, 2 sacks. This week, already a sack in the first half. This guy has been on a sack terror.
A big play for the defense with the first down sack. Now, advantage D as the offense comes up on 2nd down. He's looking to throw. Fires to the wideout. He makes a catch.
I really like this slot receiver because of his shiftiness, and you see that on his route run. Really, really nice job creating separation for his QB.
3rd and short now. They snap it from their own 46. Looking to throw for it. That pass is well off target. He got hit as he was trying to throw, and they can't convert on 3rd down.
We're already in the first quarter, but already you get the feeling this could be a long day for this QB. He's already been sacked. He gets hit right there on the incomplete throw. They've got to find a way to do a better job up front of protecting this guy, or it's going to be difficult to put up points.
In their own territory, no problem. 4th and inches, and they'll go for it. Goes to the option. And he keeps it himself. A good decision there, and it gives this offense a first down.
No mystery there. 4th and inches. Hand it off, keep the drive alive.
The Hawaii offense returns to the field. These last couple of drives, Jesse, have been about the defense making clutch stand.
I think for this offense, they can stay aggressive knowing that their defense is going to bail them out time and time again here.
Yeah, and especially when you go for those 4th down situations, you do that a lot of times because you know your defense can make stands, make stops. They did on that last possession for you.
Didn't get much on 1st down. It's 2nd and 9. Quarterback changing the plays at the line. On 2nd down, wants to throw it. He's looking deep. He makes a grab. And he ran away from the crowd, and he'll take it in. Touchdown, Hawaii.
He's just running straight down the field. The thing you got to look at there is the velocity on the throw by the quarterback. He didn't lob it. He got it to him quickly, put it on his body. He was able to make the catch and then run it in for a touchdown.
Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. He'll bring it out from inside his own 10. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Offense getting set for 1st down. Looking to move it through the air. He finds his man, and he's down right there. Picked up a few, but still some work to do to get a 1st down.
2nd down.
Second down now as they're ready to go back to work. Brown has it. Defense there to stop him after a gain of 1 to the 22.
Yeah, and the running back didn't get much here, but, you know, you clearly want to always establish the tempo, run the football, be consistent, make that defense physically meet the challenge.
They'll need to convert this third down from their own 22 to get this drive jump-started. Looking to throw, it's Fowler Nicolosi. It's complete to the right. He's run out of bounds, but he's got enough to move the sticks.
You know, as a receiver, it's so critical and important to know where the sticks are. He was able to modify his route, so he knew as soon as he caught it, he was just going to have enough to keep this drive alive.
Pulls it and fires to the left. Didn't pick up a lot there, moved it forward just a few.
The thing I like about this slot receiver, he's really intentional in his route running. The quarterback always knows exactly where he's going to be on the field. They've got great chemistry together.
They'll leave it with him. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Man, what a spectacular play by that defensive end to come up with the tackle there.
And you see those guys get off the football so fast. Most of these guys are 250 to 275 pounds, but they get off the ball fast, low. And the offensive linemen, they have no chance to stop those guys as quick and as fast as they are.
On 3rd and long, he's going to have to throw for it. That's the kind of play that can really get you going as they have a first down at the 43.
Well, look, that wasn't a touchdown, but that was a massive play for this offense. They needed some momentum. They needed to find a rhythm, and what better way than converting on 3rd down. Awesome job by the quarterback getting through his progression.
The offense showing motion from the tight end, trying to get a read on the D. Trying to find his man on 1st down. Slings it downfield. It's complete. Offense on the move. A big play there. Gets it to the 30.
That's what's so scary about this offense. They've got guys in the perimeter that can change the game in one single play, and you saw it right there. Too much speed on the perimeter to create that explosive play.
Finds the tight end. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that 1st down marker.
A nice job by the defense there, tackling the catch and smothering the tight end. They know this offense is going to try to find him in the passing game in a lot of different situations. That time, perfect coverage, and nice job bringing the big guy down. Not easy to do.
They'll go to work on 2nd down after doing damage on the ground. Out of the gun, the inside give. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple.
That back had absolutely nowhere to run the football. Actually, is he counting? I think he's counting to make sure there's only 11 guys on defense.
They've made clutch, tough plays on this drive on 3rd down. They need one more on 3rd and 7. Looking for a man. It's Fowler Nicolosi. Working the middle. It's complete. And boy, is he close to that 1st down, maybe just a couple of inches short.
Man, and that's just making it way too easy on the defense. They're laughing at that short. They're like, really? Okay, we'll just make an easy tackle and jog our punt return team out on the field. We're going to make it that easy for us.
This is a makeable field goal distance, but this offense is thinking touchdowns. They'll go for it on 4th.
I think that's a big advantage of having a tiny quarterback, right? Is he can find little creases to wedge his body into to pick up short yardage plays like that on the QB sneak on 4th down.
Keeping it on the ground with the running back. They get him stopped after a 2-yard gain. Ball is at the 17.
And sticking to the run. I tell you what, a lot of teams that are really good are really stubborn, and they continue to run the football even with little success. So this offense is going to continue to focus on running the football. You can tell.
They're bringing heat. And the freshman does a great job using his technique and getting the man on the ground.
Well, great job there by the defense because they weren't able to get him sacked right away, but you saw the coverage in the back end. Nowhere for the quarterback to throw the football. Didn't get the sack, obviously. You don't get the negative play, but you also don't give up a big one. You're feeling pretty good about where you are right now in this drive.
Now on third down for this offense. From the gun, running back on the move. Defense makes a stop, but the chains move, and it's first and goal from the 8.
Well, that's kind of the advantage of third and medium, right? Is the defense, you keep them guessing. You could throw it, you can run it. That time they hand it off, and they pick it up.
Yeah, and you can see the D drop back a little bit. It creates a little bit of space. The running back blasts through, gets the first down.
Here comes the option. And he waltzes in for the score. Touchdown, Colorado State.
And that's what makes this quarterback so dangerous, fellas. He can hurt you throwing the ball, but man, is he ever dangerous and explosive with his feet. You have got to be able to get this guy on the ground. If you don't, he has got way too much wiggle and speed. You saw it right there.
About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. He'll take the return and try to improve the field position. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Hawaii ready to go back to work on offense. After standing on the sideline and watching that long touchdown drive, they really need to put something together to give their defense a rest.
And that's a real thing, man. Like, you played a lot of plays, you get worn out, you need a chance to go decompress on the sideline, get some oxygen. Palmer, now it's on this offense.
Yeah, this is the definition of complementary football because it's a two-pronged problem. You've got to score points and answer, but you've also got to take your time and give your defense an opportunity to get their win.
On second down, he'll try to make the connection this time. This time it's complete. On the move at the 30. And he was loose and in the open field and on his way. A tremendous pickup on that one. They'll put it in play from the 41 on first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Quarterback making adjustments with his receivers. Comes out throwing on first down. Pocket starts to collapse. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
Doesn't take this defense a lot of time to get to the quarterback, man. They've got speed all over the place. They hit him so quickly, and because of that, the ball falls incomplete.
Back to work on 2nd and 10 from the 41 after that last incompletion. Out of the gun, the give to the back. And they'll bring him down after a short pickup.
You know, I think a big part of this isn't necessarily scoring a touchdown on that play, but you're just trying to get your offensive line in the rhythm of the game. Let those big fellas get lathered up.
The D thinking bring some heat on 3rd and long from the 44. They're trying to get to him. Oh, did he find a hole in the defense? A huge gain on that one before he ran out of bounds, and he has the first down.
This defense knows they have to do a better job tackling. On that play there, too many missed tackles on the wideout. It leads to an explosive play, and all of a sudden, they're in their own red zone.
The Rainbow Warriors will have it 1st and 10. The RPO, it's complete. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover to pick up the first.
I'll tell you, I love the play call on first down here. You're just trying to find an easy completion, and the shortest throw on the field for a quarterback is finding your biggest target, and that's the tight end. Nice job.
On 2nd down, wants to throw. Lets it go. Got it! And he will score! Touchdown, Hawaii!
Offense slips the running back out of the backfield. Nobody decides to cover him. My man makes the play. Shows off the hands first. Got to make the catch first. Does the rest. Walks in the end zone for a touchdown.
Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
All right, guys, a little update on what else is happening in college football this weekend. Washington is currently ahead in this one inside a jam-packed Husky Stadium, but the purple and gold have struggled to really pull away. They're up by 7 over Georgia State. We are the eyes and ears of the college football fan, and we've got you covered all day here in studio, guys.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. We will see what this Colorado State offense can get done this time. Not a lot of time left here in the half. Let's see if they can cut into this lead.
And this drive isn't a...
And here's a fumble way behind the line. And the defense has got in there trying to pick up some yards. Touchdown, Rainbow Warriors! Don't just get the ball, score with the ball, and the defense did.
And the defense comes with the blitz. Nice job getting to the quarterback. And don't just get there. Try to strip that football out. They get the QB to the ground. The ball's out. They scoop it up, take it all the way back to the house for 6.
They're just about to kick it off after that scoop and score 6. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. And the returner will be brought down. Guys, we'll have another peek at this Rams offense. They find themselves in a pretty deep hole here, but maybe a chance to grab a little momentum and regroup at halftime.
Yeah, a big chance. Like this is an opportunity. This is the biggest opportunity in front of them in the game right now. You got to get some points on the board. You got to create something positive, Jesse. There hasn't been a whole lot to be positive about in the first half.
If I'm playing quarterback, I'm locating my go-to guy.
And the quarterback caught up 2 and sacked at the 12.
I know it's early in this game, but, man, this defense has had their number. They've done a great job, already built a huge lead, now getting this offense in a situation where they got to pass the football, and they better protect their quarterback better than they are right now.
Not exactly the ideal situation for this offense. 3rd and long, backed up inside their 20. Fires to the middle. That one will be incomplete, and we are down to 10 seconds to go.
That defender is lucky on that play because he was beat on that deep route. He's lucky the QB overthrew that one.
4th down, and the punt team sends it the other way. And they'll let that one go, and it'll roll out of bounds. Just enough time for one final play in this half.
42 Spider. 4 Gorilla.
To the air on 1st down. Throws to the wideout. He's got it. He will step out of bounds, but not before the big pickup and a 1st down for this offense. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update. We're ready to get it started here in the 2nd half. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Just never had a chance to shake loose, and he'll be brought down at the 24. Hawaii has it back as they send the offense onto the field. Looking to go up top on 1st down. Got rid of it quickly, but it's incomplete. Now on 2nd down. Wide receiver coming across in motion. Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. Rumbles ahead for a pickup of 5 to the 29.
I like this guy as a running back because he can run between the tackles and he can also go outside. He can really do it all.
You got to think they'll try to muscle their way forward on 3rd and short from the 29.
29 Philly. 2-9 Philly.
From the gun, wants to pass. Got out of trouble, got rid of it. Got his man quickly. And he gets it done on 3rd down. They move the chains and they'll mark it at the 44. 3rd down, a lot of times it comes down to not necessarily who's the most open, who do you trust the most?
No, it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the gym.
He's going to let one fly down the middle. And he's got it inside the 20. And the tackle is made, but not before that completion gets him 30+.
And a big reason why this team has the lead in this game is because of plays like that. They know they've got firepower throwing the ball. They've got the dudes outside that can make things happen. You saw it in the first half, and you see it here again early in the 3rd quarter.
And that big gainer on the last one has them threatening from inside the 10. On the option. He works his way ever closer all the way down to the 1-yard line.
I like it. Just frustrate the defense. Get that 5 to 6 yards. Make them honor the run. Make them know that you're willing to run the football and run it effectively.
Now on the option. He'll pitch it. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple.
And you gotta love this defensive performance so far. Done such a good job against the running back that you saw last week, man. He can go off. He can make big plays. He can chew some yardage up and keep an offense on schedule. Nice job by this defense locking in and shutting down the run game so far.
What a job up front, and he'll lose a yard on that one.
That's a great job executing up front by the defense. They looked like they were ready for that play, and that was a bit of a more unconventional look from the offense on 3rd down, but the defense was there to make a big stop.
Going right down the boulevard. And now the lead is even bigger. They keep pushing that lead out, and the kickoff team's getting some work. And he takes this from inside the 5. And they'll bring him down to get the offense started on the next drive. Good news, I guess. A lot of room to work with as they start this drive from their own 15. Give to Brown. Danced his way through traffic. Pickup of 4 to the 19. Solid pickup of 4 on 1st down. It's 2nd and 6. Wants to throw. It's Fowler Nicolosi. Quarterback adapted. Fires on the move. And it's picked off.
Wide receivers, you know, they might at least have a hint of deep in, right? Like they're always open, according to them. And I tell you what, it's hard to be a quarterback because when they do throw that hand up there, you want to throw them the football. You want them to have confidence. You want to force feed them. You want them to really have that confidence at an all-time high. Sometimes you force them a little bit too much. The defense takes advantage like they did right now.
And it's caught inside the 25.
What a beautiful throw and catch on this play, and I love the job the receiver did tracking the ball in the air. Nice job of locating the throw and then hauling it in.
Now they'll run the draw. Able to move it ahead a couple of yards. He gets it down to the 20.
I never know if it's grammatically correct to say a team is being out-physicaled. You hear it a lot in football, though. That's happening in this game. They are just not getting the push they need all game long up front to have any success when they decide to run it.
Picked up 2 yards on that last one. They need 8 on 2nd down. Out of the shotgun, they go to the ground. He breaks a tackle. He's brought down, but he's got him inside the 10. 1st and goal from the 8.
And, you know, big chunks like this don't happen unless you commit to the run game. You got to get those big boys up front into the game, understanding I want to knock people off the football, create some holes like you do here from...
Touchdown, Warriors! And the pummeling has started. If this dude were a kitchen knife, you would be slicing tomatoes so thin your in-laws would never come back to your house.
Well, that'd be a good thing. I don't know if I want my in-laws to come back anyways, but he's been on fire. He's been absolutely torching this defense. They've had absolutely no answers for him.
On the move from inside his 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. Colorado State takes over the Ram. Offense returns to the field. Going up top on first down. Finds his man. It's Brown.
I like the running back there on the route and the patience he showed, really setting it up. Got to the defender, was able to put his foot in the ground, get some separation, catch it, and turn upfield for the first.
They'll throw it on first down. Trying to get to it. And they got him. They'll get him down for the sack.
As a defensive end, trust me, I was a defensive end, I can tell you, you start getting a little lathered up. Now you got your second sack. It's only the third quarter. Your eyeballs are getting big. This is going to be one of those days. I'm going to get me 3. I'm going to get me 4. Shoot, I might.
He lobs one high down the left side. And it goes through his hands. Oh, he had an explosive play right there for the taking, but couldn't reel it in. They've made third down offense a key. It'll be tested on 3rd and long from the 28. Back to pass. It's Fowler Nicolosi. Unloads to the right. And that pass intercepted. Trying to take it back. Able to stay on his feet and get the ball to the 21-yard line.
You know, I like the decision by the quarterback in terms of where he was going with the ball. Just don't like the accuracy. That was not good location on the throw. Got away from him a little bit, and the defense able to come up with a big play.
The option look. Got some room, headed to the goal line. He'll be stopped just short of the end zone, but they'll have it 1st and goal.
What a run, man. I tell you what, it's hard to pop runs. It's hard to get 3, 4, 5, 6 yards a lot of times. But when you've got backs like this who can make huge plays with the speed, getting out in the open field, can take it the distance on every play, defenses are scared out of their mind.
They'll use the running game on 1st and goal. Touchdown, Hawaii! And the punishment has been extended. The offense did exactly what it needed to do, getting the ball in field position like that.
It's that killer mentality. You step on their throat, you keep your foot down. When you get opportunities like that, they are golden chances to put touchdowns on the board. The offense took care of business.
The returner will field it and try to get some field position. And the coverage team able to make the tackle. We will see what this Colorado State offense can get done this time. One of the most valuable things a quarterback can have, David, short-term memory. Just forget that last pair.
You're dang right. Clear the mechanism. It's over, move it behind you. Some players can't do that real well, and it leads to more mistakes, Jesse. You got to just forget about it and move on.
And I think the coaching staff can help him too, David. I think you can get the running game going here and also get...
And the sack all the way back at the 5.
Well, we've seen this offense struggle early in this game, protecting the quarterback. They went in at halftime, thought they'd made the right adjustments, but it's not looking like it right now. They're still having issues keeping this guy standing up straight. Up front, they're just getting beat across the board.
That pass not close as he got drilled trying to deliver it, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Well, after struggling so much in the first half, you thought they would have made some adjustments here at halftime to see if they can open up this passing game. But early on in the second half, they're just not really able to get that done. Incompletion on 3rd down in your own end, you're expecting them to punt.
He's going to let one fly down the middle. Fires into traffic, intercepted. And they'll drag him down after a good return on the interception. And the senior just snatched the ball out of the air and gave it back to his offense.
And another mistake from this quarterback. That's back-to-back drives now that have resulted in interceptions. He's got to find a way to find something different, get in a better rhythm, start seeing the field better, Palmer, because he's not in a flow right now.
No, David, it looks like he's forcing the football a little bit, maybe trying to make up for that interception he threw on the last drive. But that last play, there was no way that football should have gone there. He could have gotten off of that, checked it down, or thrown it away. This quarterback, he needs a breather right now. He's got to collect himself.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. A little pre-snap eye candy for the defense. Got some room, entered to the goal line. Touchdown, Hawaii! And the route is on.
We know football gets harder when you start to get in the red zone with field tricks. Who needs that? Break the long touchdown run. Nice job by the back. Seeing the hole, exploding through, getting a long touchdown.
And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Boys, if it's happening in college football, we've got eyes on it. Check this out. Clemson is ahead early in Death Valley, but that's not exactly Trevor Lawrence out there. This game is a long way from being over. They're up by 11 over Georgia Southern. Your boy KC has you covered here in studio, guys, in case...
Got a little room. Bust through behind his pass. Just barely able to keep him from pouncing it on that one. What a nice return. This dude is absolute electricity when he gets the ball in his hands. Pulls and throws off the RPO. There to make the tackle, but the big throw is good enough to give them a first down. They've done a really good job creating the matchups they want out of the slot.
Yeah, dude, get that guy matched up on a linebacker. That guy matched up on a safety. Keep him away from the corners.
Throw to the end zone. It's picked off. He'll try to take it back. He's at the 40. At the 20. And it's going to be a pick six. Touchdown, Rainbow Warriors.
Dude, you're just thinking, hold him to 3, make him kick a field goal, don't let him score points. Heck no, you turn it into offense. What a play. Catches the ball in the end zone. Take a knee. Take a knee. No, sir. I'm taking this thing all the way back 100 yards to the house. What a play.
He'll start the return inside his 5. And the coverage team gets the returner on the ground. First snap of this drive will come from inside the 15 at their own 14-yard line. He's going to pass. And he will be sacked at the 6-yard line.
And this has been the story of the night. The offensive line getting beat up. And this is why this team is losing. You got to protect your quarterback. This defense has had a field day with their 5th sack of the game.
And he's brought down after a solid gain, and that'll be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter play. The score, Hawaii 59, Colorado.
Now facing a 3rd down as they come back to the line after the break. He's looking downfield to throw. He's moving out of the pocket. Grabbed over the middle. It's Ross.
The offense has struggled. They're not going to win this game, but trust me, his coaching staff is still trying to find things to build off of for next week. And after an explosive play like that, maybe they can generate just a little bit of momentum.
And they couldn't hold off the heat, and he goes down with a sack.
And I bet the frustration meter for this offense is so high. If you can't keep your quarterback upright, it's hard to move the ball. It's hard to score points. This offensive line has not protected.
Lost one deep down the right side. And it's caught inside the 20. Touchdown, Colorado State. And once he found daylight, it was Katie bar the door, baby.
And this has been a rough day for this offense, and finally some good things to happen. Build some momentum maybe for the future. You know, that's the way that coaches spin it when you're getting beat up and you're getting destroyed. Like, let's find something for the future. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep working. This team's done that, put some points on the board, so it's not all bad.
Well, there was a golden opportunity for the offense to come away with 2 points there, but he dropped it in the end zone. That's a catch you have to make.
Not much drives more anxiety than waiting to see if the hands team can corral the onside kick, and they do. The Hawaii offense returns to the field. This offense has really been clicking in the game so far, Jesse.
No doubt. Everything their play caller is dialing up, these guys offensively have been able to go out and execute, David.
Yeah, and it's just maintaining the lead. Keep doing what you've been doing. You got a big lead. Let's just keep piling it on until they find an answer.
I just love the way the defense prepares. Each and every week we see this defense come out, and it's like 11 guys, they've got their head in the game, and they're playing as one unit. They knew it was going to be tough facing this option game with the quarterback and the running attack, but they've just done such a good job so far staying home, playing their assignments. You saw it on that last play right there. Rallying to the football, nowhere for him to go and creating a big loss.
Yeah, and it's a nice decision by the quarterback when you run these RPOs. Man, if you can give it to him and you can get such positive yards like that, continue to do it. Make that defense react a different way, then I'll throw the football.
He took a hit as he threw it and couldn't deliver the football. It's incomplete and fourth down's coming. And the Rainbow Warriors will line up to punt it away. He ought to be able to use his first punt to pin him deep. Excellent coverage that time. Didn't give him any room to set up a big return. Guys, we'll have another peek at this Rams offense. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Feeling some heat. Trying to make magic on the scramble.
Well, you're making a positive out of a negative. And that time, quarterback, nice job buying time. He's trying to throw the football downfield. Nothing there. So instead of throwing it away and getting the incomplete, just get what you can get and make this next down more manageable.
The sweet feet buy a little time. And it's incomplete after taking a shot on second down. They're staring at third.
And it's just been that kind of day for this quarterback and this offense, guys. They have never been able to get into a rhythm throwing the football. Timing's been off. Accuracy hasn't been great. We've seen some drops. Just not in sync, and that's why they find themselves trailing by a lot right here late in the game.
Scanning the field, it's Fowler Nicolosi. He'll take another shot here. Makes the grab on the left side. And they were looking for a chunk play, and they got it. The explosive picks up more than 30. And the best thing about this, the offense can't worry about the scoreboard. Just keep trying to make plays like that, Jesse.
I know a lot of people in the stadium probably feel like this game is over. Maybe it's been over for a while, Reese, but don't tell that to this quarterback and his teammates. They're still out there scrapping and clawing.
Looking to throw. He's not afraid to go deep. And it'll be intercepted in the end zone. Great job by the freshman. Kept his eyes in the right place and made the play.
And as a defensive lineman late in the game, man, when you know it's past, you're pinning your ears back, trying to get to the quarterback. And DBs are trying to do this. Pad them stats, get the INT. Nice job by this team.
Here comes the offense on first down. Trying to start the drive with a pass. Takes a hit as he fires. Hit hard as he released the ball on that first down pass, and it never had a chance.
All right, that's a good result for the defense. We knew coming into this year they wanted to really improve their pass defense and their secondary and coverage. Nice job there.
He's going to throw deep right side. Complete downfield. All kinds of running room. He's at the 10. Touchdown, Warriors! And the stomping has commenced.
And this always is the debate of where you fall. It's your job to stop me, or I should get concerned, because this offense obviously has had themselves a day, and apparently their day's not over. They're going to continue to keep scoring, and the defense better do something about it.
And he tacks on the extra point. About to kick it off after punching it in for the touchdown. a run from inside his own 5. Nice job by the kickoff team. Everybody stayed in their lanes, and they'll stop him at the 16. Colorado State to the end with the pick, Jesse.
No, you got to be able to finish drives, especially in this game.
Looking deep down the right side. And that'll be incomplete, man.
Offense to get some completions here, because now, trailing by this much, the defense is expecting pass, and they're putting a whole bunch of extra DBs on the field to help them out in coverage.
Quarterback floating away from pressure. Oh, he loves to fire downfield. It's complete. A huge pickup. And it is a chunk play, a huge gain on that one before the defense brings it to an end. And, Jesse, there's a huge mountain to climb here, but you might as well start with a chunk play.
Well, you got to start somewhere, Reese. It's been tough going for this offense all game long. They find themselves in a hole, but I love the aggressive nature. Keep taking shots. Keep trying to claw your way back into this one.
Job, because you're flying up the field to get to the quarterback, because everything looks...
A shot toward the end zone. And it was worth going for a chunk play, but the long pass is incomplete.
And that's just the kind of game it's been for this quarterback and this offense. You got a great game plan all week long. You're watching it throughout practice. You think you're going to have a chance to light up the scoreboard, but they're just not able to hook up. You got to give this defense a ton of credit. They've done a great job in coverage. They've been breaking on passes. They've had their number, and that's why they're leading by as much as they are.
Right back to the air on 2nd and 10. Going back to the well, another deep ball. And that's going to be incomplete, going for broke on 2nd down, but 3rd down's coming up.
You know, it's one thing to take shots early in a game when the defense may not be expecting it, but at this point, 4th quarter, you're trailing by a lot. They know you're going to do it, and the defense was expecting that one. Great job in the back end.
They're going to throw it again. He'll take another shot here. Ball into the end zone, and it's intercepted. Bringing it back. And they capitalize not only on the pick, but the great return to give the offense tremendous field position.
Heat up them pass rushers, bringing them DBs. That's what I'm doing in this situation. When I got the lead by a couple scores late in the ball game, in the 4th quarter, I'm going to rush the passer like crazy. I'm going to put all those DBs back playing the pass. That's what happened. Great job understanding they're going to have to take shots. We get the interception. This one's almost done.
And he goes out of bounds after coming up with positive yardage there. How about this running back's ability to get into a pass pattern and get into one downfield?
Yeah, I like it, and I like the offensive coordinator continuing to work the running back in the passing game. Do more of this. It's easy. It's not hard routes. It's not things I have to read. It's matchups and what I find when my guy's better than yours and how I take advantage of it.
And that was almost a huge mistake by special teams. On the punt return, fumbling the football. They are so lucky that they jumped on that ball and that their offense is now going to take the field, because that could have been disastrous.
Grabbed in the middle. It's close. And he almost ran away from everybody on that one. A huge pickup on that play. And Jesse, he just keeps piling up numbers, over 350 yards for the game.
And I feel like from the get-go, Reese, this guy's just been in a great rhythm all game long.
And it's another interception as his assault on the record book continues. And he will roll into the end zone. Touchdown, Hawaii! They'll try to add another to their lead. And with the extra point, the lead is even bigger. They're about to kick it away, and the defense probably can't wait to get back out there after the pick six. He'll bring it back from inside his 5. And the returner goes down.
You know, a lot of offensive coordinators script the first, 5 to 10 to 15 plays. You don't usually draw that up for inside your own 10. Bad field position to start. This offense needs to come out, get a few positive plays first to get out the shadow of your own end zone.
They use the end around, first play of the drive. That'll get the eyes moving.
And that kind of sums up the day for this offense. I mean, nothing has really gone your way. Now you give up the safety. Tell you what, this team's got a lot of work to do over this next week to get better, to improve. This was a bad day.
Ready,
Hawaii ready to go back to work on offense. And now one of the most satisfying moments in football, just watching that clock drain away while you have control of the ball, Jesse.
And this is definitely one of the best play callers, right, for an offensive coordinator. Getting ready to go into victory formation. So many good things happened today. It seemed like everything he was dialing today, David, ended up working out.
No doubt. They've put a lot of highlights together, put a great offensive game together, complete football game. They get the win.
Running wide open down the gut of the field. The 20.
You're going to win a lot of games if you can generate explosive plays. That's what we've seen in recent weeks from this football team, but this offense, man, they are every defensive coordinator's nightmare because of the players they've got lining up all over.
Oh, there's a loose football on the bad pitch. Defense coming up with a huge fumble recovery. The 50. He's inside the 40. The 20. They finally make the stop, and not only the huge turnover, but the big return has them set up in business.
It is so awesome, Palmer, to see the best athletes on the field with the ball in their hands. The defensive lineman, baby, scooping up the fumble, trying to get it to the house. He might have ran out of gas a little bit of steam loss, and he gets caught. But what a play by the big D line.
Look at the big fella rumbling and stumbling and bumbling down the field. I'll tell you what, it wouldn't shock me if that guy at some point played running back earlier in his life, maybe when he was 8 years old. But hey, give the guy credit. He completely flips the field. Not only recovers the fumble, but now sets his offense up in great field position.
On the option. Breaks the tackle. And a good, solid pickup there before the defense knocks him down. Well, this one had all the suspense of a bug hurtling his way toward a windshield, and they did splatter them. An absolutely dominating performance.
You got to give the coaching staff a ton of credit. They obviously had their guys ready to play and motivated right from the opening kick. All three phases we saw just spectacular football. No mental mistakes, David. You really can't play better than that.
Nah, it's really fun to do this. Come out and just dominate opponents. Start from finish. Nothing to worry about. You just know you're better. You're going to do you, put up a bunch of points, and win by a lot of points.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.